Hey guys, how's it going? Onach here and welcome to the fourth round of career mode. So this time I'll feature the practice and qualifying, and in the next video, which will be up tomorrow, I will feature the race. So as usual, the practice and qualifying first though, around this Chinese international circuit, or whatever it is called. I'm sure you know what I mean. So practice was underway for us as we did our usual schedule really. I first went out on prime tire. As we see here, this was my first lap, taking a very deep entry into this first corner, and actually that first corner is a very interesting one. It just keeps going right and right and right, and there are quite a few lines possible actually through there, as we set a 41.5 as our first lap, but immediately it got beaten in the second lap as we did a 144.1, so immediately a second quicker. And well, we progressed obviously throughout this practice session. It got quicker and quicker. As you can see here, this is a much better line through the first corner. Not the best though. You do not really want to touch the inside curb actually, because it sometimes unsettles the car, but sometimes it's a little bit unavoidable. But yeah, a very interesting first corner, that's for sure. A little bit later into the prime stint, and we can see here that we are 10th up in the middle sector, currently in 13th position behind, or well, just in front of my teammate, behind Felipe Massa, as Hamilton has done a 140.6. But remember, I am not showing everything I've got right now. I think I'm in mix 2. Yes, I am indeed. I've got some fuel on board as well, so this is not the best I can do. I'll show the best in qualifying, but not in practice. But well, we know that the AI doesn't show their best either, so well, I guess it's all equal then. So a pretty good lap here so far. This was the 6th lap actually on this prime stint, as we open up the DRS zones on this track. We do a 143.281, and well, it puts us up in that 13th spot, but there's a 6/10 gap to Massa, so it seems like the top 12 is hard to approach for us at the moment. As you see once again the first corner here, that is really nice actually. That was a pretty sweet corner, and that's really the way you want to take it. But as I said, it's a very interesting corner. So we got onto the option stint and immediately doing a 142.579, 7/10 quicker than the prime tire, puts us up in 11th place. And actually a few drivers who were in front of us before already set their lap on options. A little bit later I was half of the second up, but then I saw there, I think it was Massa on the inside of that corner. I know I turned in on him and it was probably my fault, but he could have slowed down for the corner and then let me pass before actually going into the corner side by side with me. But anyway, yeah, I isn't the best. A little bit later I went with it for it again, and I'm quicker right now in this middle sector, so I'm not going to complain. 7/10 quicker actually, and then this final sector to go, and this corner here is actually a very interesting one. It's even more interesting in my opinion than the first corner. It's so super hard to put the power down of that corner. Well, it's not really hard to put the power down and not crash, but it's hard to put the power down and be quick, you know, without getting wheel spin. In the end, I'm 141.629 on this option set, and that puts us up in 6th position at the end of that practice session. So 1.8 seconds off the Mercedes from Lewis Hamilton, who was quickest in that session. My teammate is all the way down in, I believe it was 15th. Yes, it is indeed. There we see him, 15th place. Vern with a 143.671, I believe. So we were ready for qualifying then, as we see that we get strapped into our car now around this Chinese circuit. Not a big fan of this circuit, I must say. I should like it because it is pretty flowing, especially the middle sector as we see the setup here. But for some reason I'm just not really such a big fan, and I'm going with the option stint for this Q1 run then, because well, I felt like the drive was a little bit too much, you know. I mean, I'm just gonna do a nice and cool lap on this option set of tires and then see where we end up. So here we go. This is the lap then, going a bit too deep into this first corner, but as I said, plenty of lines are possible really, because if you go too deep in there, you can you know, take a different line into here and usually get a better exit out of this turn here, which has to be turn 4, I believe. We see Hamilton here getting out of the road. He's on the prime tire, so yeah, I think if we were driving in that Mercedes, we'll be able to go on the prime tire. But we're in the Toro Rosso, so we're gonna have to work for it a little bit harder. We should be able to get into Q2 at least. One thing I should mention is that rain was predicted for Q2. It actually was already predicted for the end of Q1, so that's why, it was predicted for Q1, but at the moment it seems pretty dry, doesn't it? You know, pretty blue skies, a few clouds here and there, but nothing to major. So we'll see how the weather looks like at the end of the session. But anyway, I didn't take a risk and just went out straight away. And here you can see just searching for that point where the optimal grip is, and then put the power down. In the race, you will notice it a lot. I'm just really searching, finding the grip there on the exit of the corner, and I couldn't really get a good traction out of that corner. Whatever I did to the setup, it just would not work. So we're just gonna have to deal with it then. So we have one more corner to go. Pretty stable lap, I would say. Well, just corner to go. I think we did a 41.6 in the the practice session. We do a 41.3 right now, so immediately 3/10 quicker. And indeed, in the end of the session, it started to rain. Puts us up in 14th place though, and behind our teammate by 3/10. So that is a little bit concerning, because that level was okay-ish. You know, it wasn't too bad. I'm sure I can improve, but maybe that 3/10 gap I had to my teammate was the maximum. But now we go to Q2, and the rain was pouring down. It was unbelievable. And here we see my outlap. You can see how much I'm actually struggling with putting the power down. As I said, it's not hard to keep the car on the road when putting the power down. It's different, you know. It's difficult to be quick when putting the power down and not generate too much wheel spin. So I wasn't sure whether I was going to make this, because I'm definitely not a rain driver. I prefer dry conditions. I'm gonna give it my best shot though, of course, and we'll see where we end up then. So going to rich mixture down the straight here, and I think I'm gonna go to mix 2 for the first corner, as well, out of that traction zone you otherwise would get a little bit too much wheel spin. We even go to mix 1 because of the rain, trying to minimize the wheel spin here on the traction zones. There's a little traction zone right here, which goes up to turn 3 or 4, I cannot remember. And then same here, just go to mix 1, puts or gives a little bit less power to the rear tires, but it should save us some wheel spin. Slowing down here with a 30.2 first sector. We see a Williams in our mirror there, and he's actually looking very quick. I don't like this, you know, when I'm doing my qualifying lap and there's a car behind me, because he seems quicker than me, so I knew that I wasn't really that quick at this stage. On the other hand though, we see a little bit of a train in front of us, but I don't know if those cars just exited the pit. One of those cars are, or it's actually my teammate. As we make our way through sector 2, not too bad. It's just the rear end is really slidey, especially when you put the power down. And actually, Massa goes past there when Vettel was just. Vettel exited the pit, so he got a blue flag, but he just stayed on the racing line. And then Massa at the same time he overtook me, and then suddenly started to slow down massively for that corner. So I gave him a slight bump on his rear, and here we see just how much time I have lost to the AI on the exit of that corner there. It's incredible. I have heard that the AI has some kind of traction control, so if they do, that would, you know, help them massively, of course, on the traction zones there. So that would probably explain the difference. Nonetheless, I went for it, and I really did. I'm full 1000 up here on my 159.0, while Massa is at the cutoff point with 56.3 as Perez just sweeps through there, and that's of course not a good sight, you know. Perez just sweeping through there on the traction zone. I knew it was over pretty much. There's not a lot I can do. That 159 was the lap with that little bit of a Massa incident. So we should be able to improve, but still, I don't see us getting into the 153s, let alone below the 155s. We'll see what we can do, but I heavily doubt it. Here we go, across the line. Obviously the RS is not enabled now. A little bit of oversteer there as I cut the curb, and it's a 157.877. A little bit later I still went for it. 2/10 down though in this middle sector, and that was it for me. I gave up, but then look what happened there as I slowed down and got back to the pits. Look at this. There are like 5 cars passing me at the same time. Look at this in slow motion. There we go, just enough space for me to fit through there, through that gap that was between Vettel and Rosberg, I believe. But nonetheless, a very, very disappointing qualifying for us. And it puts us up in 16th place. Our teammate in the end 13th, Hamilton got pole. And that's pretty much it. Hope you have enjoyed it. See you for the race.